Hi there. It's day 74 of the Travel Agency New Year podcast. I'm your host, Rachel, and I really thank you for coming back. If this is the first day you've stumbled upon it, enjoy the craziness. Sometimes I go on weird rants. Sometimes I not sometimes, it's all the time. It's fine. I hope you find this entertaining and informational, and it helps you to really step into really running a travel agency that works for you, not a cookie cutter template that someone else is selling you. If you have any other questions about who I am or what I do, I am a travel agency owner with subagents, and go to elevatewithrachelk.com and just poke around there. There is a community sidebar. I need to remember this. There is a free community in there. However, I'm kind of questioning what I'm going to do with that community. So if you sign up, it's probably dead at the time of recording this. Okay, day 74. Mindset chatter, fears we all have. And why is it scary to monitor your business and to be accountable for your business? It's terrifying because there ain't no one to blame except you. You can try and be like, well, I just can't find the right client. Well, what are you doing to not acquire the right clients? Well, nobody wants to spend enough money. Well, what kind of trips are you offering and what kind of value do you provide? Like, you have got to take full accountability. You've got this business venture, even if you're like, I'm not going to be a travel agent anymore. Any business venture you start up will be a mirror to be like, here's how terrible of a human being you are. And you're like, oh my gosh. And it's sink or swim, sink or swim. So let's talk about the top 10 fears that many entrepreneurs face in general, although this podcast is for travel advisors. But I also know many travel advisors do not have a strong entrepreneurial background. So they kind of come from another corporate job and they just really like planning trips. And if you're in that boat, I guess, listen up, because all of these fears will hit you at some point. You will have to address them. And then in the next 10 episodes, I'm going to go fear by fear. So come back over the next week and a half at least. So number 1, the fear of financial insecurity. The fear of financial insecurity. That is always tough. Any entrepreneur can face difficulties with steady revenue. I saw it with my dad growing up. He would, when I was little, we're talking mid, late 90s, he'd come home one day and be like, I made $10,000 today. Woo wee. But then we might not see any other income for another 2 months. You know what I mean? There was no guarantee. And that's what this is. And I do mentor advisors and coach a lot of advisors. And I'm like, dude, just take the risk, man. I'm all about it personally. I'm like, take that risk, because if you have no backup option, you have to make money, right? If you are a week away from being homeless, you will figure it out. Do what a crackhead does. Have you guys, for those of you listening, um, you've heard that meme. If a crackhead can get up and get their supply of crack every single day, what's stopping you from getting chasing your dreams and going all out? Pretend you're the crackhead. Anyway, so the fear of financial insecurity, it could be maybe your profit margins aren't the standard benchmark for a travel advisor. It's okay if you're new. It's okay if you're going through a slump. Just make sure you got a profit margin at all. And sometimes you're going to be in the hole. Every business of every kind goes through this. It could be cash flow. It could be the economy in general. It could be keeping up with, I wrote this down, keeping up with the T.A. Joneses. Getting on social media and seeing all these advisors being like, going on all these fans, flying first class, got this trip to this silly all-inclusive, going on a cruise, going on this, you're being influenced. Not that they're trying to sell you anything, but you are, all of social media, you're being influenced. And that's kind of keeping up with the Joneses, but in the travel advisor sphere. Okay, fear número 2. Fear of failure. This is the reluctance to take risks. rejection, starting over, and not being good enough. So you might as well not even try. You've already, well, there's also the fear of success, which a lot of people don't understand they really have. They think it's the fear of failure. And by the way, marketing is like very, very psychological. And if anyone is getting to you through these fears, like, oh, you're not making enough money, you need to do more, or oh, you're failing, your whatever marketing plan is failing or your business is failing, don't worry, I have the solution. They're injecting that fear into you or bringing it up, and that's manipulation. And you need to be very discerning when making an investment if anyone is marketing that way. I I use this in any kind of marketing that I'm exposed to, which guess what? All of social media all day long. Um, I will see, is this person trying to scare me? Are they trying to get to my fears to give them money? So also, this is important to know for that reason. Fear numero tres. What is three? Quoi? Fear of inadequate marketing. And this is like imposter syndrome. You hold back because you feel like you're being too arrogant. You're not taking up space. Go listen to Take Up Space, sis. I forgot her name, Tony Jones or something. If you're a guy, you're gonna be like, sis, I'm sorry. It's a good song though. She does like affirmation hip hop. Weird. Um, you feel like you have to be on all the platforms all at once. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not your audience doesn't go to every single platform. Like me as a person, like when I do social media, I've got two places I go. If I go online on social media, and that's it. You're not going to find me anywhere else. So why are you marketing everywhere? Are you on every single platform in your spare time? Probably not. All right, fear number 4 is the fear of the unknown. Even if you are hosted, even if you work for another agency and they're like, oh, we offer you mentorship. I've heard so many times that there's not enough mentoring available. And that's completely understandable because the agency owners and the host agency people, especially if the agency, like the host agency grows to like an exponentially high number, they can't mentor everyone. And they know many people start into this and they're going to probably bow out and give up. So that's okay. That's okay. You can find a community of mentors. You can send me an email. You can find my email. Anyway, there are mentors out there, is what I'm saying. But you can feel like you don't know what you're doing. And then there's things like COVID. There's uncertainty versus doubt. Uncertainty is like what's going to happen with COVID? What's going to happen with the politics in the world today? What's going to happen with the economy? We have no idea. We can sit around and posit all day long what we think is going to happen, but we have no real idea if it's just going to keep on going on. And then the doubt is more, uncertainty is like external, doubt is more internal. So there's so many things that you don't know, and there's so many things that you don't know. Um, so some people, when they have this fear, they'll end up trying to learn everything they can when we can't know everything. Right. Fear cinco, numero cinco. Okay. On the podcast. Thanks. I'm trying to remember my French from high school. The fear of isolation and the fear of networking. Most of your friends and family, they may be supportive of your business. They may not. But most people aren't self-employed. They aren't small business owners. They aren't entrepreneurial mindset type of people. And they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it if you're like, I have got to get this content out. This is part of my campaign. I made this commitment to my business, and this business is a commitment to my family and my value, whatever. And they're like, what do you mean? You should just go out and have a drink with us. We're done with our 9 to 5s. They're not going to get it. So it makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel like you're the bad guy when you're working so hard for something that you set a goal to do. And it's like, say you wanted to run a marathon. Go watch Brittany runs a marathon. Her stinking roommate, she's like, I'm going to start running and then I'm going to run a marathon. Her roommate's like, you're always just going to be fat forever. You're just skinny temporarily and you're never going to run the marathon. That little hobby thing of yours, like, it'll make you want to punch that roommate hard. But you'll also be like, I know that. I know Brittany. I'm Brittany with my travel agency. Um, Most people are too afraid to actually set their own goals, and it's kind of a crabs in a bucket mentality. They see you actually doing something and showing discipline, and they're like, "Ah, better wreck that." So I feel better about it. So, so understand what you're doing is a very brave undertaking. Networking is putting yourself out there, and networking can be a good thing, but it's also kind of tied to the imposter syndrome where you're like, "Are they going to know I have no clue what I'm doing?" And I'm just very passionate about it. The answer is yes. We all know because we all have no idea what we're doing. Fear number 6, fear of rejection, fear of actually getting leads and consultations. And then they're like, oh, this was a terrible idea. Never mind. It's going to happen. People are going to say no to you. It's sales. But if you start to get a lot of no's coming down the pipeline, that's a fear. Like you're just like, oh, I just invested all this time and passion and money and like all of this effort in creating this thing. And I just keep getting told no. Next, next, next. Every no is one step closer to a yes. Your business is a reflection of you and your values. And if some person that thinks they like you gets to know you and is like, oh, never mind. Same with you. Like, you have every right to like start to develop a friendship with somebody. And then as you get to know each other, you don't have to have like drag down fight. But after like 2 or 3 meetings, you'd be like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind you, but I don't want to spend a lot of time with you. That's fine. But a lot of people are afraid because the business is so much a reflection of who you are as an individual that when someone is like, your post is stupid, or I don't understand why you charge a fee. I could book this on Priceline by myself. Okay, great. I don't care what you have to say. You're not aligned with me, my values, and my services. Go book on Priceline. But I don't know what flight to book. Exactly. Have fun. Bye. All right. Fear number 7 is fear of success. Because once you get success, and I talked about this a little bit, like I was going after success for the completely wrong reasons. In yesterday's episode, I touched on that a little bit. But once you have that success, then there's higher expectations that you have to continue performing at that level. The people at the award shows, oh my God, why weren't you here last year? BDM's contacting you. Why aren't you selling as much anymore? What's going on? Trust me, I've been there. And I'm like, because I don't want to work with you. Or mainly, so, nope, I take it back. I went into a brand that doesn't really work with any suppliers and they don't count any of their group scores individual agency production. So I'm like, okay, perfect. I don't have the pressure to perform. I can just work with you. Anyhoodle, you're going to have more responsibility because if you're more successful, you got to start hiring people and then you have to monitor them and you got to review, not do assistants that work. Um, and you're going to have like other people's jobs, other people's livelihoods. You're going to have a higher level business, more clients to serve. And that gets really, really scary. If you go from just like maybe 50 people a year, or even from 10 to 50 people a year, that's a big jump. But then 50 to like 1,000 people, that's 3 people every single day of the year, pretty much traveling. That gets kind of scary. And it's like, oh, do I really want that? Do I really want that great power and great responsibility? Am I Spider-Man? No. Maybe. Like, it's scary. Okay. If there's an economic downturn and you are successful, guess what? You're going to have to start laying people off. It's just part of the gig. That's a lot of pressure because you're affecting that individual and their family, their household that they're supporting with the income. I don't know why I have it noted down here that we're very self-centered under the fear of success. So that's something to think about. Why did I write just that? Why did I write just that? Oh, yeah, that ties into the fear of success. Like, if you have other people to take care of, that's really, really scary. And you might prefer to just be like, I'm just going to stick with me. Maybe that's what I meant. I don't know. All right. Fear number 8 is the fear of burnout. Wearing all of the hats, long hours, especially at the very beginning of creating something. Um, that is very much a fear. And people might mask it by being like, girl, I need my downtime. Yes, you do need your downtime. And some people don't even realize that they're in burnout. And I've tried to gently point it out to some advisors. I'm like, you are in burnout. And they're like, no, I'm just in a little bit of a slump. No, you're in burnout. Like, this is too much. Calm down. I can do anything. No, you're in burnout. Okay. Come back to me when you realize you're in burnout. um, but there is that fear of like, what if I am doing too much? And so you force yourself to give yourself downtime and then you put things off and you delay them. So you're like, I deserve some downtime, which don't get me wrong, that's correct. But I want you to think and reflect, is it that you really need the downtime right now? Or is it you're so afraid of burning out that you're not going to put in an actual decent amount of work? Hmm. Hmm. Fear number 9, the welfare of the clients and or future staff. If you have a goal to scale to have employees or teammates, whatever, that ties back to both the fear of success and imposter syndrome. Can you really take care? And again, the fear of success, we're very self-centered. Are you really capable of taking care of your client the way you claim you can? Are you capable of doing it when you start to double, triple, 10x the number of trips you're booking a year? That's a fear too that can prevent you from actually growing because you're like, so you hyper focus on over serving the 4 trips a year you book rather than being like, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to be perfect. I will take care of my clients. But there is this fear of the welfare of the client. The last one is, can you manage scaling to hire? And then this is kind of like ties into everything. And it's not listed as a fear here, but it could be a fear, but it's kind of like a combination of all of them. Like, could you manage to hire 10 people right now, make sure that they all had enough business to keep them busy, make sure you had enough revenue to cover their pay and payroll taxes and any benefits or whatever, and all the other operating expenses of your company and still be able to pay yourself and have a profit margin, like what can you manage it if there's a crisis? Like, say you are hyper specialized and you have this whole team that focuses in one specific destination. And for some reason, which most of us don't sell destinations that are like prone to going to war, but who knows? That specific area, just like we're going to war. Can you step in as a leader and keep your team inspired to keep going and pivoting? That is a huge fear because that's a lot of responsibility. Well, this episode's weird. And um if you want, you can comment either on YouTube. I haven't figured out if I can see comments on Spotify, and I definitely am not tied to Apple Podcasts because Apple Podcasts is weird. And I don't have any Apple products. I'm an Android baby. I'm not a robot. If you misunderstood that. But yeah, comment which one of these, or maybe spend some time journaling today and like really reflect on these top 10 fears because I can almost guarantee if you are struggling or if you're starting out and you're like, I really want to do this, but you kind of delay starting. Like you're like, I've got all my systems in place. I got my software checked that like set up and all good to go. I got my branding, I got my website, I got professional photos, but I haven't sent out an email to anyone, or I haven't done that first post on social media announcing. Why? What is the big fear that's holding you back? And as you grow, come back to this episode if you want, re listen to the fears, and then you probably have a different fear. You got to cycle through it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day. The next 10 episodes, I believe, are going to go deep divers into all of these fears individually.